The deal, y'all. TNN Trap News Network, back in the same, back in the same. Like, cook, crack in the same, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Is that ODM Slim Homie Doodles? If it is, what's the deal with you, bro? Always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure to have you in the Rich Trap House. Shout out to the Rich Trapper Mafia. We're bringing y'all another exclusive TNN Trap News Network interview. You feel me? From your favorites out the county jail. Doodles, what's the deal? The legend himself is in this mother. You feel me? From conversations with Spody Face as he sits in the penitentiary in Arizona to conversations with T.I. as he discusses his problem when Lil Boosie called him snitch. Conversations with DJ Drama as we discuss the 20-year anniversary of trap music, Lola Brooks, Sada Baby, Kyrie Irving, so many more we've given you here at TNN Trap News Network. We're here to give y'all another one for the streets, though. We are about to call Gigi. For those of y'all who don't know who Gigi is Luce Cannon's wife. Not to be confused with Sharice Mills, who is Luce Cannon's baby mama. You feel me? Wife. With that being said, man, we ain't gonna put Gigi. She on mommy duty, so I don't want the kids on camera. So it's a phone call, not a video, because the kids don't need to be on camera. But let's get on this phone call. Gigi.
Yo, yo, yo.
So we are live, TNN Trap News Network. Chat, we got Gigi on the line. Gigi, what's up with you?
What's up, y'all? What's up, the fat?
So to those of y'all who don't know, like I was explaining to the chat, this is not to be confused with Sharice Mills, who is Luce Cannon's girlfriend, baby mama. This is his actual, on paper, in front of God and a judge, wife.
I'm his wife.
His wife. So Gigi, do you want to give us a quick background of who you are and what you got going on in reference to what Mr. Turtle got going on these days?
Yeah. So, as everybody knows, like he said, I am Luce Cannon's legal wife, just on paper. That's it. So what I decided to do was Luce Cannon and Sharice decided to on public platforms and talk about my child and myself. They made up all these lies and all these false narratives. And so I decided to come forward and clear my name and my child's name because all they do is lie. They get on public platforms and they make up all these fabricated stories. And not one person has called them out on their lies. I've asked both of them repeatedly to refrain from lying about my child and myself, and everything would be good. But for some reason, they continue. So it's my time to shine. I'm not going to allow my daughter to be lied on or myself, and I'm going to defend myself with the truth.
So to start from the top, how many children do you have with Luce?
I have one child.
Out of respect, you know what? I'm sorry. Out of respect for Alex Alonso and the real Luce Cannon, let's just call him Turtle.
So Turtle has 6 kids.
Okay.
And he has 5 boys and 1 girl, and I have his only girl.
Okay, got you. And just so we're clear, you guys paid to have this child through IVF.
Yes, we paid to have this child through IVF.
So for him to be denying this child or not claiming this child, when in actuality he paid money for a doctor to make this happen, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm upset. I'm pissed. Of course, it's hurtful I'm hurt for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, one day she's going to get older, and as people know, the internet is forever. One day I'm going to have to explain to her if, God forbid, one of her friends ends up seeing it or a family member or something brings it up. I'm going to have to explain why the one man who paid and planned to have you is publicly on the internet talking about you're not his and acting like you were born on the streets and just throwing you away like you're trash. I mean, how do you explain that to a little girl?
So has he ever been active in this child's life at any point?
Yes, he was active when he was present when she was first born up until she was 6 months old when I left him.
Because we've seen the maternity pictures, we've seen the proposal, we've seen all that.
It was basically like F you and the baby.
So we've seen the proposal, we've seen the baby shower pictures, the pregnancy, maternity shoots, and all that kind of stuff. So what happened around
I just dropped the first episode. If you go to my channel, I just dropped the first episode, and it goes into full detail, literally everything, receipt by receipt. So you guys can get the full visual of our whole IVF journey him there with the baby, like everything. So it's on my YouTube now. You guys go watch and subscribe, and then you will see why I am going forward with debunking all his lies him and Sharice are going around telling public platforms.
And you guys make sure. We got your bestie in the chat, Pearl Lux Beauty. What's up, Pearl? We see you.
Pearl.
Make sure you guys go back and watch my last page. Go back and watch my last video. I'll make sure I put the link in this video as well. You guys go check out Gigi's page. She has a lot of extremely interesting and informational videos coming out. I've been kind of peeping up with her trailers and things like that, and it's definitely something you want to see because it provides you into an actual look of the man of Tremaine, not the mysterious, fictitious figure of the fake Luce Cannon.
Correct. And like I said, everything is not even just my words. I literally have put a lot of effort into, like, you guys were actually there. So you can see, like, everything behind scenes. Because, mind you, I've been with him since 2018 till 2022. So even though he's publicly denying that, you know, our child, and it's fine, you can deny me or the marriage, but receipts don't lie, videos, pictures, audios, like, they don't lie. So you guys can go see it for yourself, receipt after receipt. And like I said, I'm going to drop an episode to show receipts for each lie that he has told.
So let me ask you this before we shift gears into other things that are basically an extension of what he has going on, to keep it on Turtle. With you having the situation to where he hasn't done anything for this child since the child was 6 months, and then you hear him online hear him in Wack saying that Luce Cannon has all these Rolls Royces and he has all these properties and he has this and he has that. He has a $100,000 Jesus piece and all that. What are your thoughts as you listen to that, as you're single-handedly taking care of his child?
Doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, you know, only a real man thinks that money can buy children. Money doesn't mean shit when it comes to raising a child, like, on love. If he doesn't want to be a part of his child's life, I was totally okay with it. And I wasn't going to force him to pay for a child that he decided to abandon. So I take full responsibility. It takes two, and I'm raising her just fine. I've never asked him for child support, so it doesn't make me feel any type of way. I mean, if he wants to live his life lying to the world, if, you know, that makes him feel good, and if people believe that, I mean, that's on them. It doesn't make me feel any different.
Real quick, off topic of the interview, I just want to say, you know, we chopped it up a couple of days ago, single parent to single parent. If nobody gets anything from this, I do want to highlight this as me being a single parent with all my boys in my house. The fact that she said that, you know, I got this kid. If you don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. You don't got to be here. I'm not trying to be in your pockets. I'm not hitting you up for child support. Shows everything. I want my audience to understand this. If it was about her having spitefulness or any animosity of trying to destroy him, she'd be hitting that nigga in his fucking pockets.
Right.
It's not about...
Cherie said it herself. She said it on her live, like, why haven't you filed for child support if you're trying to claim he's his daughter? And that's what I think people are missing the message. I'm literally only doing this because the internet is forever. Sharice and him have publicly bashed my daughter, acting like she's trash, like she doesn't, like she's not shit, like she's not worth anything. And one day, like I said, I want my daughter to know that at least one parent loves her enough to fight for her and defend her name. I just want her, if she ever does see this or this ever does come out, I want her to know the truth, that that's not true, that she was made with love and that she was planned and she was wanted. So I don't ever want her to grow up thinking that she's not worthy, that she's not worthy of love from any man or any mother, any person in general. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. Like Cherie says, no, I didn't ask for child support. I asked for one simple thing. Once he started all this, I said, cool, that's fine. You that's not your daughter. You don't want her. Cool. Sign over your parental rights permanently, and that's all I requested. That's it. That's it. No money, no nothing. Just sign over your parental rights permanently. And that's it, and we'll go on about our lives, and we'll be done with it.
And again, before we switch gears, because the majority of all of our content is consumed by males between the ages of 35 and 50, analytically speaking, that's, of course, in the city of Los Angeles. To all the fellas watching, women, y'all may or may not understand, but fellas, if you got a baby with a woman and she tell you, man, you ain't even got to be a part of the baby life, just give me the rights to the baby. If you don't want to be here, I don't want your child support, I don't want nothing. That 100% makes it extremely clear that it's not about her relationship with him, more of the relationship that she wants to have with the child and the focus of the betterment of the child. If it was about a relationship with that nigga, she would be in his fucking pockets. Trust me, I'm a 3-time baby daddy. Trust me.
I mean, because there are still good men out there. I don't want my daughter to think just because Luce Cannon is a bad seed. I don't want her to think all men are that way. One day, God will send the right God-fearing man who will love her unconditionally and be happy to pick up where he left off. And that's, I want somebody to be able to do that, and I don't want Luce Cannon, because despite what you guys see behind closed, what you guys see publicly, he still contacts me privately and asks about this daughter that he says isn't his, which I find ironic, and that's all going to come out in each episode that, like, I drop. And like I said, I'm going to be dropping all the receipts, and you will see this is the games that he plays. These are the scams and the plays. Everything that him and Charisse are doing, and Charisse is a part of the scam. I don't even think she even knows that she's even a player in this game, but everything that he's doing publicly is literally just for this specific purpose, to make a name for himself so people can talk about him, and he doesn't care if it's good or bad, nor does he care who he has to sacrifice to get this clout. He wants people to believe that he's this god who has all this money, who has all these accolades, who has done all this. I mean, he literally said he wrote POETIK Yellow for Cardi B. I mean, come on, let's be serious.
So, switching gears to Charisse, let's make this abundantly clear. Luce Cannon, Tremaine Williams, and Charisse Mills are not on paper married. They're ghetto married, like, oh, that's wifey, but they're not on paper in the eyes of God or the law married.
No, not that I'm aware of. And if they are, then they've committed a crime and it's bigamy, and their marriage would be null and void because we're still legally married.
Right. Is there a reason why you guys haven't gotten a divorce yet?
Yes, because he, again, behind closed doors, he contacts me. So you have to understand, even though we're still legally married, we have a child together. Regardless of what he says, publicly, we have a child. So in the marriage, obviously, we don't have property. He doesn't own anything, but we still have child custody. So Luce Cannon, behind closed doors, has tried to hire a lawyer. He tried to hire Mark Real Jr., a father's rights attorney, and he ended up getting dropped by the lawyer because I'm assuming that he lied, like he was doing publicly for whatever reason, and the lawyer told him, like, look, if you take this to court, you're going to lose. Like, this is your kid. So I contacted the lawyer. The lawyer, like I said, all those receipts are going to be brought up as well. The lawyer said we no longer represent him. Once he went back to pro per, which is him representing himself, he stopped showing up to court. Our last court date was in January of last year. You have to understand, when I originally filed for divorce, it was in May of 2022, and we both lived in California. After Charisse and him attacked me at the hospital and we fought, I left to Texas because I didn't want to end up going to jail for a crime that I would have committed had I kept being attacked with my child present. So when I moved to a different state, I moved to Texas. I live in Dallas. So when I moved to a different state, going back and forth as a single parent, mind you, when I left with nothing. I started over. He didn't give me money. I didn't take any of the cars. We had a Porsche. I didn't take any cars. I didn't take anything. I left with the clothes on my back. Once I did that, going back and forth, flying back and forth for court was very difficult. So I was requesting that Tremaine please come to an agreement so we could sign the divorce papers without me having to go back and forth to court, spending money that I didn't have at the time.
You were ready to figure things out in mediation.
Him and Charisse were on this tour that he wasn't really married. So in California, you have to wait 6 months for a cooling off period before you can even proceed with anything. That's the start of it. So now, fast forward to now, I've asked him to please, let's come to an agreement with the kid, sign over the rights, no child support, no nothing, everything's good. And he's refusing to do so. All he keeps emailing me or texting me and saying is, please stop this craziness and let's talk like adults. That's what his response is.
So Tremaine, is not willing to go through mediation to get things rectified, and you could just pretty much get this out the way. He wants to take the scenic route.
Correct.
Got you. Okay, so that is
the reason why, and let me clarify, for people who are wondering why I have not proceeded with the divorce. Tremaine, as you can see, his violence rate, let's just talk about the no jumper incident. And again, that's just one that you guys have seen. This is not the first time Tremaine has done incited violence on myself or involving children. I will also show those as well. Those will come up. He has other cases. He's had multiple restraining orders involving children. Recently, he pulled a gun on his own son. He has 2 older sons. He pulled a gun on one of them.
Okay, so real quick,
go ahead.
hold on, because that actually was on the list of questions.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in a household? And again, you know, we've talked. You know, I got 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in a household that makes the father whip out on his son? Now, is this the one? Is this Junior or is this another one of the kids?
This is Justin, his
Okay,
older son.
got it. And that's the family in St. Louis.
No. That's Nikki. She has 2 younger boys with him, and then he has 2 older sons. Other than those 2, he has 2 older sons
Shit.
with another woman.
Okay, so it doesn't even matter where they're at because that's those kids' business. It doesn't matter. But so what happens that makes a father up Blake on his kid?
So what happened was, which actually his twin brother actually spoke somewhat about this on his interview with Street TV. So you can hear some of it there. I think he didn't want to go into detail because he wanted to deal with it another way. But what happened was our house in Riverside at Kingdom Drive, the one that Sharice keeps claiming that was hers and his, not sure why. I've already showed those receipts. She was nowhere on the lease. She never lived there.
Is that the house from the robbery?
Yes, that's the house.
Okay, we'll get into that.
Correct. So, he was, Kenan has this thing where he has to pretend he has all this stuff. So Kenan has people who make like fraudulent documents. So he had a fake deed, drafted up, and he was convincing Sharice that he owned this house. When indeed, if you look it up, the house was owned by Corey Harkey, which was an ex-NFL player, and Bianca Harkey, his wife, which is who we rented it from, which is who was on our lease agreement. Those were our landlords. So he created this fake deed. His older son was staying there with Jermaine's wife at the time, and their kids were all staying there at the house. At the time, I was not living in the house. I was already moving to Milwaukee over by then, but the kids were staying there with his brother's wife and her kids. And so he went over there with Sharice to kick the kids out. Sharice wanted to make a point, and as she's been doing on public platforms, claiming it's her house, and she wanted to kick his son out.
How old was his son at the time?
His son is 21 at this time.
Okay.
And Jermaine's wife with her little kids. Mind you, these kids are like, 5, 6, 3. They're small, young kids. So she's telling everybody to get out and get out of my house. This is my house. She's showing them this fake deed. He signed over the house to me. It's mine. So Justin and them are like, okay, whatever. So he's like, well, he had his girlfriend there at the time. She had a baby. And him and Justin.
So that would be Luce's grandchild.
I'm sorry?
So that would be Tremaine's fucking grandchild.
No, it's not. It wasn't his child. It was the girlfriend had a baby.
Okay. So the girl came with a baby. Okay, got it.
And so Tremaine, when Justin and him had gotten a verbal argument, Tremaine threatened to slap the baby out the girl's hand. So that's when Justin told him, if you do that, I'm gonna, beat your ass. So of course Tremaine bugged up at him. They got in a fight, and unfortunately his son got the best of him and beat Tremaine's ass. Did
he win or did he beat his ass?
I'm sorry?
Did he win or did he beat his ass?
No, he knocked him out.
Oh shit! Like sleep?
In front of Sharice, and obviously, as you can imagine, that.
Wait. When you say knocked out, like sleep knocked out, or like figuratively speaking?
No, he just knocked him down.
Okay, so he put him on his pockets. Got it.
He put him on his ass.
Okay.
Put him on his ass. And so I imagine you can understand how embarrassing that was. I'm sure. So the next day, Luce Cannon, Sharice, Alfred Walker. I don't know the other person that was involved. Came back and put the kids at gunpoint and laid them all down, including the little kids.
Wow. And Sharice brought him back to do this.
Correct. She was there with him with a gun as well.
Oh, so they Bonnie and Clyde, 2 blicks.
Correct.
Wow. So you get this story. How do you find out about this?
From the kids.
Oh, so the kids hit you like, hey, this nigga's tripping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Golly. So how did that affect his relationship with his brother?
have to ask his brother. Like I said, I think his brother spoke on it some. I'm not sure of their relationship now. When I talk to his brother, I mean, me and his brother know how he is behind closed doors, as his brother said on his interview. So we don't really talk about Tremaine because this is like nothing new. I mean, this extenuating amount of lies that he's doing now is something new and to this extreme. But Cannon has always been a liar, so I mean, it's nothing new for us. So we don't really discuss like their relationship because it's kind of always been on and off. But his brothers went on interview and
Yeah, we watched his interview with Alex Alonso. Shout out to Alex Alonso.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Keeping it on to Miss Mills. You know what's interesting? I didn't even think about the fact that if she was married, it would be Sharice Williams.
Correct.
Damn it, something so simple.
I mean, and this is the thing. Nobody is trying to stop them from getting married. And I think if anybody looks at my prior interviews, I've been asking for a divorce. So my question is, if she wants, if they want to be married so bad, why not have him just sign over the rights to the daughter that they're saying isn't his? It's a simple thing. Any one of you out there who is a notary or anything, literally, if you can get Sharice Mills the paper, it's one piece of paper. I've sent it to Tremaine millions of times. It's literally a piece of paper that you sign over your rights, you have it notarized, and I can submit it to the judge, and this would all be over with. So let's get that taken care of. Since she is so gung-ho, nobody's trying to stop them from living happily ever after in their delusion and their lies and their fake lives. I could care less. I just want the paper signed. So I can cut ties with him permanently for the daughter that he's trashed all over publicly and doesn't want nothing to do with. I'm just asking for him to sign over his rights permanently. That's it.
So real quick before I change subjects, what made him no longer want to be involved with the daughter? What was that deciding point or deciding factor?
Oh, you have to ask him that question. I have no idea. He's
So-
still saying it's not his, so you guys got to go watch my video. So first, let's look at the receipts. Let's not take my word for it. Let's go ahead and look at let's look at the video. You watch it, and then you ask yourself why a man who clearly this is his child, clearly he's at the IVF clinic when they're putting the sperm in from his nut sack into my body. You can see it on the screen. I mean, you guys go decide, and then you ask Miss Sharice Mills, since that's her husband. Ask her why is your husband denying this child when clearly we can see from receipts right here that it's his child.
Okay, so
So I mean, you gotta ask them that question. I don't know.
So you know we see Sharice, we see Luce. You know they're like I guess this ghetto Ricky and Lucy. I guess you know for comic relief purposes. But it's for sure like a ghetto Lucy and Ricky. If you get it, you get it. If you don't worry about it. But where I was watching your live earlier, and it came up to the point where he is. We got to watch our words on YouTube, but he's Homer Simpson, Bart Simpson, strangled for comedic relief purposes, as we'll say on this comment. Her and her mother jumps in, and then there's like a conflict between him and her mom.
So Sharice made a point to do a video, interview, and mock the fact that Cannon's domestic violence against me, laughing about him beating me. And
I remember that.
It's funny because he also beat her. Her mother on Clubhouse also admitted that he did beat up Sharice. She got in the middle of it, and the mom got either pushed or popped or something like that. I think she said he didn't slap her, but I guess he like pushed her or whatever. He got charged with strangulation and a bunch of other stuff on there. It's public record. It's in out of Las Vegas.
And this would be Clark County.
Charges, and that was that.
That would be out of Clark County.
That's out of Clark County. Look up Tremaine Ashley Williams, and it will pull right up. You don't even need an account to look up criminal records in Las Vegas. So.
But you know what? I do remember there being a point in time where she was in the hospital.
Correct.
And I'll say this because he sent the picture to me, and he was like trying to get me to do something on social media, but you know it's sometimes very hard to understand what the fuck he's trying to say. But
right.
Yeah, like I don't really understand what you're telling me. But he sent me a picture of her in the hospital, and I didn't think nothing of it at the time. But then later on, don't let me lie and say where I heard it, but they was like, oh yeah, because that nigga whooped on her, and that's why she was in hospital. And then the timeline matched up to the picture.
Like I said, one thing about me is I'm not gonna lie about something that I don't know for a fact. Now, was she in the hospital for getting whooped by him? I cannot confirm or deny that. I do not know, but I can confirm I have heard the same thing from several sources, and also from a source who from within her family. So I
Okay,
heard the
so
same thing.
we'll leave that right there because the family would know better than any of us.
No.
All right, well, keeping this mystical adventure going, are you familiar at all with his relationship with Wack 100?
So, I'm not familiar of their relationship, how far it has gone now. I know that where it started. So, Cannon didn't know had no interaction or communication with Wack until that Molly Mall situation happened. Molly Mall is friends with Wack. I have those text messages as well, and those DMs between him and Wack. What he put out was on Cookout talking shit about Wack. That all the videos you see, that's all real. It was not a play. That was all real. In the midst between there, him and Tremaine and Big U had fell out, and that's when he kind of like Luce persisted his relationship with Wack. He was, getting buddy more with Wack.
So what if, because we all saw, we don't have to talk too much about what we all saw publicly of them two being Beavis and Butthead, obviously. How do we get to the point now where you have Wack disrespecting Sharice Mills, talking like about her dirty bathwater, indicating that Luce Cannon's a snitch, and you have Luce Cannon on his end basically insinuating that he has something on Wack that could probably land him in the same situation Luce is in? Like, where does the fallout come?
Well, Luce, so let me explain this to you. And like I said, this will be all on my YouTube. Everybody, anytime Luce has a relationship with anybody, it's it's a purpose. There's a reason. Luce is always 2 steps ahead. So just know that, and I can say this wholeheartedly, hundredly knowing, because he taught me this. Anytime Luce is having a conversation with you or anything, you better believe that it's recorded. You better believe that any conversation he's had with you, there's conversation that he has set up purposely to get information to possibly use against you at a later time, because you are always everybody he associates with is a player in his game.
So he just has like a trove of recorded conversations.
Oh, absolutely. With everybody, everything. He's always got something on somebody in some type of way, shape, or form. He uses people for whatever he needs them for. So whatever he was using Wack for, you better believe whatever private conversations they've had, whatever things Wack has told him, he definitely has the receipts for it.
So what I'm thinking is, big shout out to IBM Hoodlum. I don't know if you're familiar with him and what he has going on right now.
I spoke to him before, yeah.
Okay, so are you aware that basically, in a short story shorter, Tremaine has some sort of maybe conversation or information that ties, allegedly, of course, ties Wack to the fight at No Jumper, and to being the one that set that up.
I have not spoke to IBM Hoodlum regarding that instance, so I do not know if he has it. But dealing with Tremaine Williams and being with him for all these years, I can believe it.
Interesting.
I definitely can believe that's true.
So, because that the only thing in this situation that I can't quite figure out, like I can see why him and 600 are now at odds because they probably never liked each other in the first place, and now true feelings are just probably starting to spill over. You know what I mean? That's neither here nor there. But
why him and Wack fell out?
Yeah, why him and Wack are all of a sudden.
Wack was being used. Like I said, they were both using each other. I don't know Wack well enough to know why he was using Tremaine. I don't know him, so I can't speak on that. But Tremaine definitely was using Wack because you have to understand is Tremaine uses anybody that can get him to he always wanted to be famous, no matter what. He's been trying this for the longest time. This is not the first scam or play that he's tried to be famous. It's just the first one that actually worked, that got him some clout, that he's the biggest clout he's ever had. So when he started his relationship with Wack, he went into it with a plan. Period. Once he was done with that plan, he wasn't going to remain in Wack's shadow. He was going to eventually break ties and then just bubble off what Wack did for him, which is made him, known.
No more, no less.
Stay in Wack's shadow forever.
No more, no less.
No more, no less, which he did, right? Now he's outside of Wack's shadow. And if you notice, and the only reason why I'm going to say this, like I said, I can't confirm or deny. The only reason why I do believe it is because, just like everybody else, I have ears. I've listened to Wack literally go off on everybody, including myself. He's made statements against me, never met me from a can of paint. But I have seen him yet. I mean, all of my receipts, a lot of my receipts, I mean, not say all, because some of them are only I have. But there's a lot of stuff about Cannon that's public. Wack has yet to even pull one receipt to dispute anything he says, yet Cannon has called him out and said all types of different disrespectful things about him. But Wack has done it to everybody else, so why not lose Cannon?
So wait, hold on. Like, what type of different? What type of disrespectful? Wait, so you're saying Luce has been saying crazy things about Wack?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen it just like, him calling him out, telling him to pull up and all this stuff, and I've seen other people do it, and Wack is going on a tirade, a binge, and bringing up all their past and bringing up all types of stuff to anybody who has, called him out or tried to fight him or anything. And I've seen Luce Cannon do it, and I've seen Wack say nothing. So I don't know. I can only do like everybody else and speculate that maybe it's true. Maybe Luce Cannon does have something on him that could get him into trouble.
Yeah, because the way that Wack responds to Luce, like, I'll use myself for an example. Wack handles me and talks to me a certain type of way because I have something on him that he knows will humiliate him. But I don't hide it. I'm very boisterous about whatever I have. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that whenever somebody has, like, for example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the dude from the Bay. I forget his name. You guys tell me in the chat. I forget his name, but it's a guy who's been trying to fight Wack for a minute, but he has something on him, so Wack doesn't speak on him. I'm watching him deal with Luce the exact same way. So again, like you're saying, it does make sense that he does have somebody who he does have something on him. That Jay Diggs, that's the guy from the Bay. Excuse me, my bad, y'all. The dude Jay Diggs from the Bay Area that be on Wack's ass, he never says anything about that dude. But I'm watching him now go from handling Luce like a bestie, go best friend, that's my best friend, to kind of handling him the same way, to where Luce is talking reckless and Wack is just kind of allowing it to roll off his shoulder as if, kind of insinuating, I don't want to piss this nigga off, because it's in a situation where Luce is looking like he don't got shit to lose.
Like I said, I'm just speculating like you guys, but it does seem that way just from seeing what I've seen publicly. It seems like maybe Luce is telling the truth, and maybe he does have something on him.
Yeah, this is incredible. So, a few more questions, Gigi, and I'll let you get up out of here. I know you got things to do.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Luce essentially talking his way into an indictment?
I don't feel any way about it. I feel like that when you do the devil's work, God's eventually going to come knocking. You reap what you sow, and I feel like sometimes when you sell your soul when you want something so bad, eventually you're going to fuck it up, right? And I feel like he wanted the fame and clout so bad that I think at one point he felt untouchable, after the no jumper thing, just everything he's done, he's felt like kind of like he was God. And I think that he just took it a little too far and told on his own self and thinking that, nothing was going to happen.
Yeah, because it's incredible. Like, for example, the story, we all know by now, the weed shop story, that the victim didn't know who Luce was until Luce went on no jumper and was like, hey, it's me. You have situations like, you know what? I do want to ask you this, because you have situations like he's saying that Nipsey Hussle called him right before his demise and said, hey, let's keep this thing going, keep the marathon going, or whatever bullshit he said. What was his relationship like with Nipsey Hussle as far as your knowledge?
It's not my knowledge. That's also going to be an episode I'm dropping. I was with Luce, like I said, from 2018. I was with Luce laying down in the bed when he got the call. He didn't get a call from Nipsey. He didn't have a relationship with Nipsey. He never spoke to Nipsey from 2018 to 2022.
Okay.
From the time that I was with him to the time I left, he had never had a relationship with Nipsey Hussle.
So no phone calls, no pictures, no text messages, no messenger pigeons, smoke signals, MySpace, nothing.
No, nothing. Not at all.
So kind of keeping it around the same topic, because you have a child with them and you were with them for what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Did you ever see any like forget any Crips or Bloods or whatever? Did you see anybody from South Central period with him?
Yes.
So are these like active?
On that as well.
So are these like active Rolling 60 gang members, or even inactive Rolling 60 gang members?
Yes. Now that's one thing like I can say, and I've said this publicly multiple times, is that they kind of created that monster. They allowed him to portray this persona. He has been doing this Rolling 60s persona for a very long time. And, again, as I said multiple times, money is the root of, rules all evil. So when people use him, you know what I'm saying, they allowed him to portray this persona. They allow him to claim 60s, and nobody ever called him out on it until he did what he did. And now everybody's like, "Oh, you're not from 60s," but which he's not. But you still allowed him to claim for so long. He was always been able to claim it since I've known him, and he has been around 60s. Now, has he been to the hood, putting in work and doing all that? No. But they came to our house. A couple of them have lived with us. They've been at our house multiple times. And I've always told them, like, you guys created this monster that you see now, all because, you know, you let this square ass nigga in. You know how you have like the cool kid, and then you have the little square kid who may come from a rich family, and you let him hang out with the cool kid because he's buying everybody pizza and doing. That's what Luce Cannon is. Luce Cannon's a trick. He tricks off on all. He has to buy friends. He doesn't have friends. He buys people. So what she was doing, they were using him, and he burned them.
So he is a donational crip.
Exactly. There you go. That's a good word. That is a great word.
A donation. Feel free. It's yours. Take it. It's yours. It's yours.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Donational crip. Donational crip. Got it. No real accolades. And one thing I do just want to clarify. So you never actually saw him headed to South Central. They would come to Corona to hang out with him.
Correct. We've been to, I think we went maybe like twice, and we went to somebody's house. We weren't hanging out in the hood, just chilling out there. Like, we went to go see Nutso. Like, we went, like, I think once or twice out of the 5 years we've been together, but they most 99% of the time they came to where we were, whether it was in Corona or Riverside, all places that we lived. They came to and was hanging out with us at our house.
And it's amazing that I mean, you know, everybody falls on hard times, but you're essentially allowing strangers to live where you, your wife, and your child live?
Correct, which is the reason why, like I said, that's why I don't understand what's the reason. And like I said, this is all going to come out in my episodes. I was already, let me to get very clear. Me and Luce Cannon were living in the house together because we had a child, and I didn't want to take his daughter from him. So even though we were not together, you know, I was wanting a divorce, and we were going to separate. We still were living together for the sake of our daughter. He had tons of niggas living there during that time, and that was the reason why Sharice was even able to come over to the house, is because I stayed at hotels a lot of the time, or at my older daughter's house a lot of the time, because there were so many random men in our house, like it was Motel 6.
And that was his contribution to be allowed to be that was his gangbang contribution.
That he, like 2 of them he has now. They were there. They lived in our house as well. That's his way of kind of creating his own little mafia, his own little, like, you know, for him to feel like he's a Wack 100 or a Big U or whatever. That's what he does. He wants to be the kingpin. That's what he wants. So he has to create that because he doesn't have friends. Nobody knows who he is. So he creates that with men who don't have anything really going on. A lot of them are from, you know, the IE. He gets ones that, you know, really don't have nothing going on, and they flock to him. They come living under him. They want to be, you know, known. They want to be around the LA thing, and that's what they do.
So a couple more questions. Just off topic, on topic. Have you ever seen him with any like childhood friends? Like I can introduce you right now to my best friend since the 4th grade. Have you ever seen him with any childhood, like literal day ones, or these are all just like people who he meets along the way?
He's been friends with people for a couple of years, but then after he, you know, after he burns them, then he's got a new set. So he's always had a different clique. Like, you'll notice, like, the IBM dudes, these weren't the originals that when he first came out. It's like always some change in and out because he's always burning some of them. So he changes friends like he changes draws. I don't even want to say friends. He changes minions like he changes draws.
Yeah, that's incredible. Second to last question. There was a situation where he snitched on you. And not only did he snitch on you, he completely lied about some bullshit he had done and put you at the blame of. For those of you guys who don't know, Gigi is cracking in these streets, man. She has made the news because Luce Cannon was setting up Airbnbs and robbing the Airbnbs and the people who are in them. Gigi, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. So the first robbery happened at our house. As I said, during this time, I was in and out. because of all the dudes that he has staying there. So one of the times that I was staying at my daughter's house, he had set up with one of the IBM dudes, girl or ex-girlfriends, whatever. She was running some type of gambling thing. So he allowed her to do it at our house in Riverside. So the girl brought her clients or whatever. They set up the gambling table. Luce and the IBM dudes provided security, and security robbed all the patrons at gunpoint. Took all their money, their jewelry, their wallets, and everything. And after that robbery, there was like a slew of robberies in that area, so there was an investigation. After that robbery, our house got then vandalized. Sharice and Luce then went to the police and told them that I robbed him, which he's publicly also said this, that I robbed our own house, mind you, because as I've shown proof, it was not in her name. She never lived there. And so it brought me into the investigation of the slew of robberies. So, of course, the detective on the case calls me and says that, Luce Cannon and Sharice have filed a police report against me saying that I participated in the robbery at the house. So then they started questioning me about the slew of robberies and their investigation. So I find myself in the middle of a robbery investigation, and I have to clear my name. I got to show where I was, yada, 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 yada. I show all the receipts, same thing like I'm doing now to the detective, bring in footage of where I was at the time. I bring in witnesses, and, talks to my witnesses of where I was at the time, clears me of all the charges that Luce and Sharice put on me about this robbery. And that's that. I'm then cleared from the investigation, and I don't know what happened to anybody else who was in the investigation. I don't know. Like I said, I cleared my own self, and I was cleared, and I was cleared from being a part of the investigation.
Yeah, because apparently you and Black China were the dynamic duo in that alleged cat burglar.
Correct. Well, that's not what he said on the police report. The police report, I was the only one named. He added Black China, I guess, to sound more cooler, because nobody knows who I am, right? So I guess he added Black China for clicks when he started doing it publicly. So she was just added publicly, but she's not on the investigation on the police report that they actually made to the police.
Wow, that is incredible. So for those of y'all who just really have a hard time following, basically in a very long story short, Luce Cannon was behind, and all this in his residence where his wife and his daughter live, mind you, was setting up illegal gambling sessions, set up security for said illegal gambling sessions, went out of town to Miami to establish an alibi, and had his minions rob everybody. As a result of somebody who had been a victim of said robbery came back, trashed the house, instead of just not saying anything to anybody and just cleaning up the house, changing security or changing locks, whatever, and changing locations, ultimately, you try to, I guess it's maybe, we don't know what he's thinking, but we can assume that he's trying to jump ahead of the situation and place the blame on you.
Correct.
He is his father's son.
He definitely is. Definitely. That was the first time, and then the second time was.
Wait, this nigga told on you twice?
I was at the hospital with my daughter who had pneumonia with the baby, and he and Sharice came to the hospital, came inside my daughter's hospital room. We get in a fight, and then mind you, I think she said this publicly. They came to where I was. I've never ever been to where them two go or are anywhere. We get in a fight. She then goes with Luce Cannon to the courthouse and files a restraining order against me.
So you're in the hospital.
Testifies in court.
Wow.
Hilarious.
What? So you're in the hospital with your child.
Correct.
So who's in the hospital? You or the child? Who's
the baby.
Okay, so the baby's the actual patient.
Correct.
You're there obviously as what a mother should be with a newborn child.
Correct.
He shows up with her with the intention of with the intention of him fighting you?
I honestly don't know what his intention was, being that we have a restraining order, an active restraining order. He's not allowed to be anywhere near me. The only one person who knew that I was in the hospital was his mother, because me and his mother have a relationship. So, of course, I let her know that her granddaughter was in the hospital. She had pneumonia. She had a seizure because her fever was like 103. She was in there for a couple of days. So I let his mom know, because I communicate with his mother only. Luce knew he has a restraining order. He wasn't supposed to be anywhere near me. So why they came up there, I do not know. When they tried to come into the room, my oldest daughter was there with me as well. She blocked Sharice from coming in the room. Sharice then went to try to hit my older daughter, and then that's when I hit Sharice, and then that's when Cannon sucker punched me. The nurses grabbed the baby from my
So when you
arm,
wait,
we
so
all
when you say
started
sucker
fighting.
punch you, like he like with the closed fist hit you in the face?
Oh yeah, he punched. Yeah, he sucker punched.
So like he fired on you like you was a nigga.
Right hook, he fired on me straight up. Right hook, bow. Yep.
Wow.
All because I punched Sharice. Punched me right in the face. Boom. Hold his daughter, by the way. The daughter he doesn't claim. I'm sorry.
Which is the whole reason why he's there.
Correct. So
he's there to see a kid that he's saying his.
Oh my God! Somebody who has some freaking right. Exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
I'm just trying to look because I've been doing this long enough to know that you have to break things down to a very elementary level on the YouTube videos because people will miss what's going on. So I know that I'm being redundant and I'm saying the same thing just way simpler. Sometimes everybody can't keep up.
No, that's fine.
So just so we're clear, you are in the hospital with you guys' child, the same child that was not made, through bedroom activities you guys paid a doctor to make happen.
Correct.
You are holding said child. Sharice come in on bullshit. Your daughter who's grown steps up, checks Sharice. Sharice gets physical with your daughter. You fire on Sharice. You're still holding the baby. Loose cannon fires on you.
Correct.
Shit.
Correct.
So and that's where I'm assuming police. Okay, so who got arrested? You or her?
No, Loose cannon went to jail.
Okay, because you're at a hospital. Of course, police are there. And this is Riverside County?
This is Loma Linda. He has an active warrant, which is on the detention hearing for the indictment. That's on there as well. He has an active warrant. He has two.
Yeah, he has two warrants.
He has two.
And Loma Linda, that's Riverside County or San Bernardino?
That is San Bernardino.
Okay, so he goes to the farm.
He goes to what?
To the farm. The county, the San Bernardino County Jail.
I've never been. I don't know. I guess wherever.
Got it. Okay. And what happens to Sharice? So he goes to jail, and then what happens to Sharice?
So I can't press charges against Sharice because obviously her face is messed up. Where the officer says that if I press charges on her, that she can press charges on me because I messed. Because
you whooped her shit.
Messed her up. Correct. So I didn't press. I said okay, cool, that's fine. So she goes, she's down. They let her go. I go, and then he goes to jail. The 2 days later, on May 17th, because this was on May 15th, May 17th, he and her go to the courthouse, and they provide I don't know what type of evidence. He testifies, and all of a sudden, there's some restraining order against me.
Man.
Which clearly you'd have to lie, right? Because I didn't go to her. She's admitted she came to the hospital where I was. I didn't go looking for her. I didn't come to her. So I don't know what evidence they provided the judge at the time to get this false restraining order and for Cannon to get on the stand and be sworn and testify to these lies. But, I'll see him in court. Like I said, it's on the detention here. He has two active warrants for 2 cases against me. So.
Well, you might be waiting for a while though, because from what I understand, he has to go through this federal indictment first, and then once he's done with that, then you get to see your day in court.
Oh, it's okay. I'm not going to work. I'm young. I got time.
You got 10 to 20.
I got 10 to 20.
Yeah, because that nigga's gonna sit for a minute.
Absolutely, I got plenty of time.
Goodness gracious. So, man, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at it a financial aspect, and feel free not to answer this question if it's way too personal. But a roundabout question: how much does IVF cost?
IVF?
Yeah.
It depends on what doctor you go to, but ours was around like 10 grand. So it depends if you do like a fresh transfer, if you do a frozen transfer. It depends on, it depends on like different aspects. So like more gets added on depending on what you do. If you choose to choose a gender, you could do that. If you choose not to choose a gender, it's cheaper. So it just depends on like, what extras you add in there and stuff like that. But it costs like around 10, 11,000.
Okay, because I just asked because, again, it's just like you spend all this money to not deal with the kid is like a crazy, terrible use of money management.
Hey, that's crazy. I'm not complaining. I got a beautiful little girl, and like I said, I'm not here to force nobody to raise her. It takes 2. He doesn't want to take his responsibility. I'm all for it. I'll take full responsibility, and no problem. No big deal.
You know what, Gigi? Before you get out of here, I do want to play one piece of audio for you. The chat wants to know what's your relationship with his brother, with Jermaine.
I mean, Jermaine have a good relationship. I have a good relationship with his brother.
So you a good enough relationship to where you'd be able to identify his voice over a recording?
Yeah, of course. Why?
So I'm gonna play you this recording, and I want to make sure I read this correctly. Give me 1 second to go to my text messages. This is a fake call that Luce Cannon has someone do, saying that it was his brother, debunking everything that we all watched his brother say on street TV. So I guess Luce Cannon has somebody call in, faking that he's in jail, pretending to be Jermaine, to allude to the fact that everything that was said on street TV in Jermaine's interview was a lie.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and play the audio for you right now. Let me go ahead and play this real quick.
I didn't seen it, so
this, and this is the would-be Jermaine.
And
I mean, at the end there, I'm clear everything good. So.
I mean, I guess they use you to debunk him for all the big you shit, right? And it's a lot of us know keyboard. I didn't seen it, so for the run, that is, whatever nigga got.
Okay, I'm sorry, that was Wack talking. This is the would-be Jermaine.
I was like, that's definitely not him.
Okay, so this is the would-be Jermaine right here.
At the Los Angeles Fed building on 8th Street.
What building?
The Los Angeles Fed building, forfeiture case.
Does that sound like Jermaine to you?
No, that's not.
That's clearly not Jermaine.
No, that's not Jermaine.
Okay, so because we all watched the interview, so we all know what the nigga sound and look like.
I was about to say, come on, you know what he said. He has a very distinctive voice. Him and Luce Cannon both do. So it's not hard to really tell, like, if it's his voice or not. I'm sure anybody who has ears can hear that's not him.
Okay, and then just for the sake of, we all clearly know, but for the sake of the internet, stupid questions sometimes need a smart answer.
Okay.
But Gigi, thank you so much for giving us your time. Is there anything you want to leave the chat with before we get up out of here?
No, just definitely share, like, subscribe, tune in, because I got a lot of episodes dropping, giving you guys, just like I said, maybe to answer a lot of you guys' questions through video, audio, text message, just so you guys can kind of see the real Luce Cannon and, all his lies. So you can kind of get a picture of, then you'll know better.
Well, there you go, man. Gigi, what's your YouTube channel?
It's IMHERGIA. I'm her Gia.
There it is, man. And y'all are hearing it first. Gigi, we appreciate your time. I'm gonna hit you up later. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me. All right, thank you.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it first, man. Another one for the streets. TNN Trap News Network, always giving y'all good interviews, always giving y'all good content, always giving y'all good news you can use. Good knowledge you ain't finna get nobody's college. We up out of here to the next one. Make sure you better off today than what you were yesterday. Be even better tomorrow, but today be at your best. Red dots to the left. You know the rest. Free Avenue Angel, so he's free. We gone.